Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we are going to be doing a 24-hour readathon. I do my 24-hour readathons with breaks, so it's just going to be a timer on my phone for 24 hours. I try to take the least amount of breaks as possible, but I do like to eat and I do like to sleep, but we're starting it today. It's about 8:30. Ooh, that's pointy. Okay. So let's get into my TBR for the day. So first, I want to finish the book I'm in the middle of on my Kindle. It is Guarded by the Goalie by Lawson. According to my Kindle, I have about 2 hours and 8 minutes left, so I'm hoping to finish this. And then the next book on my TBR is In the Orbit of You by Schumacher, still don't know how to say your name. But I'm super excited about this book. This was the book that I actually pre-ordered before there was even a cover released. So, and I haven't looked under the... No. Sometimes there's cute stuff underneath her dust jacket, but not for this book. But I'm very excited. I don't know a whole ton about this book, other than who the author is and that I love the author, so have to read it. I don't anticipate this taking me too long. It's just contemporary romance kind of vibe. So, and then the next book and the last book I have planned out, because I don't know what I'm going to want to read after that, is A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. Honestly, this is kind of a big book. Who knows how long it'll take me to read. I've read Avatar, the first book, maybe back in like February. Like, it's been a while, but I need to get through the series. Being honest, I never wanted to read the series. I had no intentions of reading Avatar, but I'm reading Crescent City series, and if you've read the second book, I'm sure everyone by now has already read the third book, but I can't. But if you read the second book, you know I have to read the Avatar series. So that's my plan TBR for the video. I'm not sure how much time I'll have left, and I'm not sure after reading both a contemporary and fantasy what kind of book I'll be in the mood for after. So I don't have any plans for after that, but we shall see. So yeah, let's get cozy and let's start our 24-hour readathon. So we are officially just under 2 hours into the readathon, and I have finished my first book. So I really liked this book. It was Guarded by the Goalie, again, by Lawson, I think. Yes, Lawson. And so this is the second book in this series. And I definitely like this a lot more than the first book. The first book was Faking It with the Forward, I think. And I read that probably back in like April or something, a while ago. And it wasn't a bad book. It just like, it was fine. I like this one a lot more. I like the characters. And I like their dynamic a lot. I don't have a whole lot to say about it. It was a good book. It was an easy read. So, that is that. And now I'm going to get started on In the Orbit of You. I'm so excited. So, I'm going to grab my annotating stuff and get started. Guys, okay, I'm 3 pages in. It's giving Peter by Taylor Swift vibes. But why do you have to go? She said, sobbing. The boy didn't like to see the girl cry, so he did the only thing he knew how to do. He made an impossible promise and hugged her back. I don't know, he said. I just do. But we'll always be friends, I promise. When we're big, I'll find you again. It's very Peter vibes. Hi guys. I took my sweater off because I was hot, but sorry to have so many interruptions. I'm on page 9 now, page 9, and we have this quote. It's not going to mean anything to you guys, probably. A t-shirt from a bookstore I once visited in Michigan. It's connecting. Her first book ever, her first book that this author ever wrote, and my favorite of all of her books so far, is Amelia Unabridged. And in that book, the character lives in Texas, and she goes to a bookstore in Michigan. It means a lot to me. Anyways, that's all. Sorry. Just over 5 hours into the readathon, and I have finished. I should put the cover back on it. In the Orbit of You. From now on, I've just decided I'm gonna be on a first name basis with the author, which technically, I DM'd her and she DM'd me back, so technically we're friends and I can just call her Ashley, because that's how that works, right? Since I still don't know how to pronounce her last name. So her writing every time, like her books they're really quick reads, honestly, but that doesn't mean anything about the writing or the content in it, because it's such a deep book. Like, it's a very YA, but also there's so much in it. I don't know, I love all of her books, all of them. Amelia Unabridged is always going to be my favorite. It always will be. Which I know you guys saw Val's bookshop, I can't remember, but there's no mention of Amelia, but I don't even care. The mention of the bookstore. But yeah, Amelia Unabridged will always be my favorite. I can't pick the next 3. Like, I can't order them because they're really, really good. But this one, so good. There's a tiny little snail on the cover, and I was like, oh, so cute when I saw it. But now I get it. The snails. Oh, the snails. It was just really good. And okay, something else. I will include a picture in the acknowledgements. If you guys don't read the acknowledgements of books, you absolutely should. But her final paragraph is for Eddie and Henry, which is her husband and her kid, I believe. Which their posts on Instagram and when Twitter were so cute. I think her and her husband are like perfect together. But the last sentence is, I'm pretty sure we're not coordinated enough to be the 3 Musketeers, but whatever we are, it's the joy of my life. And that's like the cutest thing ever. So there's so much in this book that I absolutely adore. So our main characters are, I can't remember names, are Nova and Sammy. And basically they were neighbors when they were kids. And then Sam has to move away. I don't know if it's included in it is included in the synopsis, so I can say it. Sammy is abused at home. They're like, I think 5. So CPS gets involved. That part's not really on page, but we know that he has cuts because they're 5. So this is through the lens of Nova as a 5-year-old. Is she sees him with cuts, and then one day his aunt and uncle come and take him, and he's gone. So anyways, that's the end of that. And then Nova's mom works, like, I don't think it's freelance, but basically goes around and fixes up companies that are falling apart. But they move. I think she said the longest they'd been anywhere was for like 2 years. but, like, she moves frequently. Like, I think she said by the time she was a junior in high school, she'd been to, like, 6 high schools or something, which is crazy. And a lot of the book, from Nova's point of view, was trying to figure out who she was and who she is in time for college. Like, she moved around so much, and she loved that aspect, and was like, wow, that's great, because then I can be whoever I want to be every time I start over in a new place. But then she's like, shoot, you have to figure out what you want to do for college, and she wanted to stop being whoever she wanted to be and figure out who she actually was, and what she actually liked in terms of getting ready to go to college. And then we meet Sam, they reconnect. It was an interesting feat, the reconnection. There was a whole lot to it. And Sam's he's like, oh, well, I was saved from what could have been such a horrible life, so I have to be grateful and for everything. And, he's like, my parents paid so much for me to do football. He's a really great football player, but even though he doesn't love football, he feels like he owes it to, well, not his parents, his aunt and uncle, who he calls his parents. He owes it to them to stick with it. So he spends a lot of time battling with what he wants to do as a person and what he thinks he owes to other people. So I think that was interesting seeing kind of, for both of them, it was trying to figure out who they were just through different lenses. And I have to say, I think earlier I said that this was a contemporary romance. It's just a contemporary. It's not really a romance. They never actually get together on the page. And I really liked, I took videos of it. There was like a before, middle, end, and then unless. So it was told kind of fairy tale setting, which was really fitting considering the kingdom of Snailopolis. And I don't know, I really liked it. I love Ashley's writing. And I think her books for YA contemporary, they just hold so much depth to them. All of them have had some other story. It's not like there's so much more meaning to them, which I think is why I really, really adore all of her books, and they all mean a lot to me. And I think I take a lot of inspiration from them in terms of when I dabble in writing here and there, especially Amelia Unabridged. I had these 2 characters that I had written well before I read that book, and then I read that book and I was like, it just clicks, it all makes sense to me now. So, yeah. And I want to say, she does have a blurb by Ashley Poston, which I know she's become a very popular writer. So if you guys like Ashley Poston, you should read Ashley's books, because I love them. They are very near and dear to my heart. But now that I've rambled on about my deep, deep love for these books, it's time to start my next book, which is over there, so I'll get lit. But I am now going to be starting A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. So what I don't anticipate will take Ashley's In the Orbit of You only took me like 3 hours to read. I anticipate A Court of Mist and Fury taking at least 5, if not like 7 or 8. So, anyways, I'm gonna get started on that and keep chugging through my 24 hours. So I come for a quick update. I'm like, I don't know, a third of the way through this book, and why is it so long? Like, I feel like I think I'm 200 pages in, just over 200 pages in. And I feel like it's taken me ages to get through this. I feel like a lot of the first, 100 pages, where it's like back and forth between Tamlin and Feyre, did not need to be that long. Gotta be honest, did not need to be that long. But whatever. But I mean, it's good. It's good. It's not bad. I don't love it. I do really love Rhysand and his awareness of Feyre, and obviously I know that was a spoiler. I probably shouldn't have said that. Okay. Yeah, Rhys's innate awareness of Feyre. And I suspect I know why he has this. I won't say it in case anyone hasn't read it for spoilers. But I think I know it just because I personally have not avoided spoilers for this series because I didn't intend on reading it. So, like, I kind of have a guess based on all of the media I have seen. But I've been reading, it's like, oh my god, it's past 5 o'clock? When did that happen? I am officially almost reaching hour 9. So this is definitely going to take, honestly, this might take me the rest of the readathon. To be fair, I was a little distracted for the past few hours. Our local dog shelter in Georgia is a kill shelter, and, like, today was the end date for some of these dogs to be adopted, so I've been, like, constantly checking the page. Not that, there's nothing I can do about it. We can't take another dog in this house. But I've been anxious, and I've been checking the page. So. But, I'm gonna get back to reading and probably get dinner at some point, because it's almost 5:30 now. But yeah. So I am officially just over 12 hours into my readathon, and I am about 420 pages. Yeah, about 420 pages into A Court of Mist and Fury. It's good. I still think that it's too long. It just feels like it's never ending. And, like, there's a lot of scenes that I feel like did not have to go on for that long. But I think it's picking up, and I'm enjoying it. So, it's officially 10 o'clock at night, so that's fun. I'm definitely going to finish this book tonight. However, it takes me, like, 2 hours to read 100 pages, and there's still 200 pages left. So, I'll probably be reading for, like, at least 4 more hours. And then, if I do feel like reading more tonight, I probably will find a book on Kindle Unlimited to read. Just because when it gets dark like this, I want to, like, curl up into a tiny ball. And you can't do that while reading a physical book, but I can while reading my Kindle. So I'll have to find a book on my Kindle to read for it tonight if I feel like reading more after I finish this book. But I'm going to get back to it. So it's actually been a couple of days. I finished my readathon yesterday, which was the day after I started it. But yesterday I just was not in the mood to talk, so I'm here to kind of wrap up and talk about the books that I have read. So obviously we saw the first book that I read was finishing up Guarded by the Goalie by Angel Lawson on my Kindle. I already talked about that book. It was pretty good. It is what it was. It was what it was. It's pretty generic. Wasn't bad, but it wasn't like 5-star book. And then I read, should not have stacked them. And then I read In the Orbit of You by Ashley, which you've already said, I'm calling her Ashley. And I loved this book, 5-star probably, because I love Ashley. I love her books and I love her writing, and they will always do it for me. And then into the books that I didn't really talk about as much. The first one is Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. So I ended up finishing this book 15 hours into my readathon, which was at about 1 a.m. So I didn't talk a whole lot about this book. I talked about it being long, and it took me 10 hours to read this book. 10 hours. I don't know when the last time was that it took me 10 hours to read a book. So I still think that a lot of it could have been shortened down and condensed, but also a lot of it, there was a lot going on. So, like, I get why it was long. I am on the fence about whether I like Feyre or not. I feel like her character was a little, like, back and forth. Like, I feel like a lot of times she'd be, like, very down on herself and then immediately pop back right up. And, like, it was a very fast turnaround, I feel like sometimes. But I really liked Resand. I think as a character and like as a person, he's just such a good person. So I really liked him. And I have so many questions about Amryn. I don't know if that's how you say her name. Amryn. Like, she's got a whole lot going on, and I want to know more about her and what she was before she was Fae and all this stuff. And then I loved Moore's relationship with Azriel and Cassian, especially with Azriel. I think it was just like very sweet and very nice. And Tamlin. I mean, everyone knew you were gonna dislike Tamlin by the end of this book. That's everything. That's all the media is on this book, is that you hate Tamlin. I really like Lucian. I don't know how to say his name. I'm gonna say Lucian. I like that better. I think he's a great character, and I think there's a lot to him because you see kind of that battling between the loyalty that he owes to Tamlin versus what he thinks is right. And I really want to see him and Elaine. That is Throne of Glass. Elaine. Him and Elaine. And I'm curious about Nesta because everyone hates Nesta, but like, she hasn't done anything wrong. She's trying to protect her family in the way she knows how to, so I see nothing wrong with what she's done. But yeah, that's this book. I think I've talked about most of the characters. I hate the queens, the mortal queens, besides the one. Idiots, but you know, when aren't royalty idiots? And then after that, since I finished that at 1 a.m, I wanted to pick up an ebook on my Kindle, so I did that, and I read like 30 minutes of Offside by Avery Keelan. I think that's how you say your name, because I was exhausted and like passed out. So I really liked Offside, but I think, once again, very long. It was 500 pages. It took me like 8 or 9 hours to read, which for a romance book is crazy. Like, I get that there was a lot of aspects going on, but also like, I feel like the whole middle section of the book, the plot wasn't progressing at all. Like, the whole point of all the scenes in a book is that they're supposed to progress the plot, and I feel like a lot of it was just like, let's throw in a cute romance scene, which I'm never opposed to, except when there's like 100 pages too much of them. But other than that, and then after that after I finished Offside, I had, I think, 2 hours left in my readathon. So it's like, perfect, I have a very short book, which is This Winter by Alice Oseman. This is part of the Heartstopper universe. It is a novella, so it was very short. It was, I think, like 98 pages. Yeah, 98 pages. And the font was huge, and there was pictures scattered throughout. So it was a very quick read. I think it might have took me under an hour to read it. But there's a lot going on in it, and every page in Tori's point of view, I was like, me and Tori, we are the same person. I've never had an original experience because Tori lived my experience. Like, word for word, there are scenes that have happened in this book that have happened in my life, which is crazy. So, love this book, love every book written by Alice. This isn't the only book actually besides Heartstopper that I've read, but I have Solitaire and Loveless. I just need to get to them. But I am excited as Alice has been publishing these new US covers because I think they're so cute. So I have this. And then I finished this, obviously had a little bit over an hour to go, so I decided to start the second book after Offside, which was Shutout by Avery Keelan. And I like that one more than Offside, mostly because it was a little bit shorter. I think it was like 320 pages or something along those lines. And it dealt with a lot heavier topic, I felt like. Not that Offside dealt a lot with like a breakup and stalker-ish issues, whereas Offside dealt with much more external, not relationship issues, having to do with cancer and stuff, and I feel like that one was much better, and I liked kind of the exploration of who the characters were and the things that they needed to figure out for themselves. So I like that one not a lot more from Offside, but more than Offside. But yeah, that was all the books I read in 26 hours. So let me stack them all up for you. I did anticipate possibly getting through another physical book, but like I said, Court of Mist and Fury and Offside together took almost 19 hours of the readathon, which is crazy. But here are all my books that I read. And I'm quite happy with this. It got me through, both these books were on my physical TBR, so technically In the Orbit of You is also on my physical TBR, but right now I'm cataloging my physical TBR as books that I started 2024 with, and In the Orbit of You was actually a 2024 release, so I didn't start the year with it. Though I had bought it at that point. I pre-ordered it back in like August or something. But, so, yeah. Thank you guys for watching and hanging out for these 26 hours with me, and I will see you somewhere else on the internet.